bunch, I'll be honest. You know, there were certain elements of that game that weren't anything we stand for, weren't anything I'd like to stand for going forward. And what I like about this group, they've reflected really well and really honest today. And you know, the pleasing thing since I've been here is how consistent we've been, and when we turn up, we sort of know what's turning up, and that didn't happen on I can't remember, New Year's Day, I think it was Sunday. But it's important. We've got a short turnaround, and we're like, the world's against us, but we're a pretty optimistic group, and we're going to work our arse off to get right for Friday night. It's hard to say. What I would say, I thought there was a positive reaction from the Scarlets that we didn't match. So for whatever reason, whether it's individually or collectively, we didn't match what they brought when they went down to 14 men, and they had individuals who managed to control the game, and people like Lousy and Fafita and even Aaron Shingle I thought was superb, and we didn't match here. We had good players, but we weren't collectively good enough. They'll be really disappointed, won't they? I thought their performances have been good. They'd just be really disappointed with the outcomes of their games, and they're coming up here fully loaded because they need results like we need results, and it's home. It's Friday night in Newport, Rodney Parade. I used to hate going there on a Friday night, and we need to make it that way this week. What I would say about the Bulls, having coached against them last year for the Scarlets, that week specifically, that group of players for the Bulls played on, I think it was a Saturday in the URC, they played on a Wednesday night in the Currie Cup, and then the same group of players played Friday night, so they played 3 games in 6 days that week, and ended up putting 60 points on us, because they're tough, they made it tough stuff, and we know what's coming, and we got to be prepared. Hard to say, isn't it? I could go on all day, but it's the talent they have within this squad, I think. They're physical, we know that, we know they won't take a step back, so we have to match that. And then you look at the back three they have can light up if we're not on our game without game management. Ollie Griffiths is around the group now. We've seen warm-up match days at a full training week, and he'll be in and around selection, which is great. Gonzalo's a further week closer. He done the warm-up. I'm just watching him kick out the window now. That's been his biggest blocker, and he looks pretty good. So as long as he can get through today and tomorrow, he could be in this 23 as well, which is a bonus for us. You know, we got, like we said, post-match, there's a lot of fresh people able to come in, talented people like Jordan Williams, Max Clark's busting for opportunity. We missed Jack Dixon last week. So them type of players will be back and around to freshen us up and bring some energy. When you lose someone like Harrison Keddy out your back row, you lose leadership, and Ollie can replace that for us now. Harrison's got a pretty tough hamstring injury that he got caught in an incident against so many games now, Cardiff, and he played on with it because he's quite tough. But yeah, when you lose someone like that in your day-to-day environment, to have someone like Ollie come in now, he replaces that. And I think I've known Ollie since he was 16. I've known of him for a long time, and every time I've watched him, he's been superb. And for me, to have the chance to coach him and see him on the field excites me. It's going to be difficult for Tane this week if you don't play for a long time, and suddenly you've got 2 games in 5 days, so we've got to be careful how we manage Tane. Same as Ashton Hewitt's had a pretty big block. He's come through injury very early. He's got through a 12-week injury, come back in 8 and played 4 games, so we've got to be careful how we manage Ashton, whether we cap his time this weekend is important, or off the bench or not involved. And you know, I'll always take a very individual approach with these players. It's important they're treated fairly, treated correctly, and trust the squad. He's got strength testing today, I think, but everything about what Leon's done the last 3 weeks, we've made the right decision to make sure we pulled him out and took dates away, because his strength has massively increased, and you know, that excites us because now we can get down to the stuff that he couldn't do previously. So there's definitely good news on Leon Brown now coming out, and just making sure, again, we don't put a date on it, but we make sure he's stronger, he's doing more, which is great. It was, yeah, it was, and the crowd's worth points to us. When the crowd's like it were against Cardiff, it's worth points to us. You can see that on the weekend. Scarlets had a decent crowd there. It's a big stadium, packed Scarlets, but they were very vocal, and it obviously inspired them, and for some reason not us. But especially at home, when we've got our crowd with us, it's superb, isn't it? It's a rugby ground, isn't it? It doesn't. It's amazing how many teams and oppositional coaches come to Rodney Parade, look round, and go, "Wow, what a place! What a rugby ground!" And especially now seeing the South African teams coming up here, they're like, "Oh, this is a rugby stadium." And we do that when we go there to their 70,000 seater stadiums, but actually, it still means as much, and it's still as passionate for them coming to our place.